Tell us something that always makes you smile.
Uh,
You'll be smiling after this is over, right?
yeah.
Welcome to the sofa, Paula Bloodworth,
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
founder and chief strategy officer of Alien Baby. Co-founder?
Co-founder.
What does after work mean to you?
Probably terrible reality TV that just switches my brain. Anything to switch my brain off. I used to come home and overanalyze the day and tear myself apart a little bit. But weirdly, in the last year or two, I've not done that. I've just embraced terrible TV, really.
But do you feel better for it? Because you're actually
Yes.
giving yourself a bit of a
Yes.
time to switch off.
Yeah, really low standards in television. Really low
High
standards.
standards in work, low standards in
Maybe,
food.
maybe.
I used to poo-poo reality TV, and then I realised over COVID it's exactly what I needed to
Yeah.
just go think about something really silly
Yeah,
that's not your life.
yeah. It's wonderful. I love it.
Alien Baby, let's talk about Alien Baby. So why the name?
I've lived overseas loads of time, America and China and all over the place.
Mhm.
And when you look at your passport, it says legal alien. And I've always kind of liked that and hated it. And I've always felt somewhat like an outsider. So I sort of liked that feeling. Baby, because ideas are fragile, I suppose. And it's it's important to keep them like a baby. And I think we also attract aliens. I think we really attract people who don't fit the box or are sick of fitting a box and want to try and push their boundaries and embrace something a little bit different and explore different sides of themselves. So we've sort of got a bunch of people who thought they'd drop out of advertising or not really sure where they fit, and they've come and sort of found a home at Alien Baby.
So let's just run through this. So your co-founder is Idris Elba.
Yes.
How on earth did that happen? Were you like, oh, Idris, I've got an idea?
I just was sort of recruited to work with him, and we didn't have the studio for about a year, and I just worked directly with him.
Yeah.
And it felt like I was taking a year out of the industry in a way that was just so enjoyable. Not that I don't love the industry, I really do, but it was just good to I don't know, set my brain in a different world. So worked with him, worked on the anti-knife crime campaign for, a good year, where he managed to kind of change the law and increase funding and create a coalition. He did so much because he put himself out there, and it was wonderful to be part of it. And then working with the music guys and talent and entertainment, just learning about different worlds. And then over that course, I think we'd always been, let's start something, like there's so much richness here, and let's cross our worlds and cross pollinate a little bit. And he's well up for it. He goes for things, which is admirable. So yeah, we started Alien Baby about a year ago, and got some great clients pretty quickly. Nike, who's obviously I've worked with Nike for years, and I'm very loyal to them, and they're great to us. So, and then a bunch of football clubs and stuff through Idris, so like Amazon Studios, working on some of his movies. Bit of an eclectic mix. It sort of always comes in a bit different. And then whatever Idris has in his world. So it could be, I don't know, a music launch, or a movie, or he wants to start a brand, or he's, needs to go to South by Southwest, and what does he say about himself? Like the briefs are so vast and varied, but no one is ever bored at Alien Baby.
Sounds amazing.
Yeah, it's good. It's
And tell me what Alien Baby, like, what is your proposition? What do you stand for?
Probably its most simplest, I'd say. We're learning from entertainment and the entertainment world and how they do things and how an artist does things and shows up, and vice versa. We're bringing brand to entertainment. So our scope of work is quite vast. We'll work on documentaries and scripted series and non-scripted stuff, as well as brand, but we're merging those worlds and really breaking down the barriers of, sort of traditional comms, I guess.
And working so closely with an artist,
Yeah.
what have you learned? Like, what have you taken from that? To have a co-founder who's an artist, not like an advertising bod. What have you learned?
So much. I feel like a different person, actually. They just want to make and create, and they don't worry about the layers, and they know who they are. That's probably the other thing. They know because they have to, and they sort of manage their own brand, and they know where they want to go next. And it's just really, it's free moving. It's creativity first. It has to be authentic and true to them. They don't fear failure. They fear not doing not doing what's right for them.
Yeah.
And yeah, they're just sort of hungry for creativity and for making.
So in there, I heard a couple of things that I think are really interesting. One is like naivety
Mm.
in terms of creativity, just being naive to our industry
Mm.
is lovely. And the second thing is probably being very true to who you are as an artist rather than thinking about data first. It's more like, what do you believe? What do you want? And going from there. Is that
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. I mean, they have to be somewhat the CEO, the CFO of everything. It's their reputation on the line. You know, they've got to be the managers of their own world and really think about every move they make. How is it building their brand? So really, they're like the best brand builders, and they're having more effectiveness in culture a lot of the time than brands who spend billions. And I know he's famous, and they're all famous, and there's a certain ease with that, but they've got to keep famous. They've
Yeah.
got to keep attention, which is what we're all sort of fighting for is attention.
There must be some cons with working with artists where it's all about their own truth.
Mm.
There's got to be some, I'm not talking about Idris, I'm talking
Yeah.
about in general, some ego that comes with that, where you're trying to propose potentially the right answer for a piece of creativity, and then it always goes back to subjectively how that artist feels.
I think the cons might be timelines and everything needs to be done quickly and all that kind of stuff, but I would never trade that, I suppose. There are cons, I suppose, but I like the subjectivity. I like that there's a gut, like we've presented ideas. We got the brief, we came up with ideas 2 days later, we presented them to, and he's like, that's the one. And it didn't change. And it's really nice to just have clear, a gut kind of feedback. I'd much rather that than rounds of trying to prove something that can't be proven. You know, at the end of the day, you have to take a leap.
For sure. And tell me about, do you think there's a power in the brand releasing their inner artist?
Sure. And I think loads of brands do it. This isn't saying like an artist is always better. As I said, I love this industry. But yeah, I think they're doing what we always try to achieve in the branding world too. And some do it more effectively than others. But it is knowing who you are. It's doing it on purpose without limits, I suppose. You know, the other thing I'll say too is they don't plan years and years in advance. They do feel like they're big projects for sure, like massively ambitious things. But they also leave room to just react to culture and I've got this idea, let's do it. So I think the brands that can react in culture, in the moment, are also really successful, and that's how an artist operates.
I know that when you work with artists, there is a sense of being less risk adverse than potentially there is when you're working directly with brands. And you give yourself permission to experiment a bit more. That must be quite freeing in terms of creativity.
Yeah, it is. Risk is always such a tricky word, you know, like for them, I really think they don't see it as risk. Their risk is not doing anything. Their risk is staying still and not pushing into new places. So for them, they fear not doing anything rather than fear the failure. And they look at failure in the ways that, you know, all the classic Nike ads have told us over time. It's fuel and it's training and it's learning. And so many of their careers have been about you have to fail to kind of get to the top. So they don't see it as a setback. They just keep moving forward, you know. They're like a cat, they land on their feet and they just keep moving. Obviously, you know, disasterly things aside, but generally it's moving forward. And, you know, the same is true with brands, like respect the brands too. Risk and bravery are words I don't love to use because creativity is always a leap. But it's the safest bet sometimes because where do you go? But it's our job to make it feel exciting and make it not feel like, oh God, which way can it go? It's our job to go like, this is exciting. Let's do this. This is right for you. This is who you are. And it's the next, sort of natural step versus it feeling like a cliff you have to jump off.
It's experimentation. Great things come from experimentation.
Yeah. And
I mean, I started advertising in 2003 and you were taught to like be right.
Yes.
And have the right solution, not necessarily be free to try things out. And I think it's a much better world to come into now where we're just trying and we don't always have to be right.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think I've talked over the years. I'm not a big one for process and templates and rigidity. I respect rigor.
Yeah.
Not naive. You've got to walk into there knowing, like, if anything, it's that depth and knowing people and speaking to them versus, reading a report. But yeah, leaving room at the end for experimentation and for play and for collaborators to come in and take the vision somewhere slightly different. And that's the other thing with artists too is, they respect experts. They have the vision, they know where they want to go, but they respect collaborators and creative partners and the great brands that are doing the same too.
Nice. And then you and I have talked about chaos before because we came from Wieden and Kennedy, where creativity through chaos was the mantra.
Yep.
Everything you've talked about being experimental and, taking the reins off and not enjoying process, does that turn into chaos?
I hope so. I really do. I love chaos. I've loved my time at Wyden's and can only say good things about them. But I love chaos because it's where the creativity lies. And I'm not saying we don't need structure when it comes to account service and the books and all those sort of things. So there has to be like a bit of a backbone so we're actually pushing forward in the right direction. It's not mayhem. But when it comes to strategy, creativity, that I like to leave room for chaos and for people to feel like they can be part of what we're building at Alien Baby. Yeah, no, I'm trying to keep it somewhat as an experiment in itself. And whoever comes along takes it into a new direction and it morphs and molds. And I think you get that with chaos, where people feel like they can put their stamp on it a little bit. So.
It can be very tiring chaos, constant chaos.
Yeah, or it can be really invigorating because you feel you're free to pursue your creative pursuits. Like we've got an account director who's writing scripts for us, and we've got our head of operations who's into interior design and wants to do some experience stuff with us, and that's when it's motivating. So
I love how you chucked out the stay in your lane moment.
Yeah.
The olden days of advertising, that's what you were told, stay in your lane.
Totally.
It would be really freeing to work for a company where you're just like, try it, go for it.
It's such a thing of mine. I've been in places where I've been told to stay in my lane and I've gone, I don't think I'm a strategist. I don't think I'm in this role. And then I've been in places where I'm like, the scope of it is so broad and you still have to know your stuff. We still have to have an excellence around your craft. But I felt like I've never fit in, which hence the alien thing. I felt like I've never fit in. Idris is the same. He's everything. He's an entrepreneur. He's an actor. He's, a DJ. He's, he's kind of anything he wants to be. And it's that spirit that I wanted to filter through to Alien Baby. And we've just seen people come and bring their full selves.
So what's the best thing you've done this year?
Getting pregnant.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, it's anyone who's been through IVF knows it's a journey. So we were very lucky to get pregnant for a second time. But yeah, it was a delight. It's also a challenge, founding a business when you're expecting, but which leads me on to the other thing. My other highlight is hiring really good people around me. So I feel really comfortable being able to enjoy it and hopefully go off maternity leave and enjoy those things because I've managed to hire some wonderful people around me.
How do you feel? Like, do you feel nervous? Do you feel excited? Do you feel comfortable? How do you feel about going off?
I think I feel all those things. I'm determined to do it because I think we all, being a founder and getting pregnant, I think all these stories, we all need more of them. Not that I'm any kind of pioneer in any way, but, I'm determined to find a way that makes it work for me and my family and my baby and putting those things first, which has to come first, but also figuring out a way to walk away for a little while and trust my team. I don't want it to be all about me. I want it to be about the culture. I'm not interested in building an extension of myself, and I want to create something that does feel like a collection of people who are creating the culture, and it's really strong without me. So I'll be the happiest if it continues to rise while I'm gone and goes into a different direction.
And how much, as a founder, and I also had a baby after I founded Wildwood, so this is just an interesting one for me. How much can you switch off?
I guess we'll find out.
There's never a good time for anything, though, is there?
There's never a good time. And I think so many, It's so easy to just talk about women in general, but you feel trapped because you've got to hold on to that maternity leave or a safe place, or it's just when your career is really sort of taking off is the time when you need to have kids, and it's always, you always feel like you have to make a choice. And I'm not saying you can have it all, because you probably can't. But I suppose I'm just trying to navigate what's right for me in this situation, and try to create a company that supports that.
I really love how you've answered me with flex in quite a few of the things I've asked you, which is like, it's wonderful, because it's like, I'm not going to give you a solid answer on this, because it could go one way or another. And actually, that's super refreshing.
Yeah.
What's your biggest professional mistake?
Maybe in my younger years, listening to people who want to put you down, you know, they want to, you know, tell you you're something you're not. That was when I first started out. I had some trees. So that's not necessarily a mistake. It's just things I didn't need. So I'm determined to not make those mistakes for the next generation.
That's it.
Oh,
You did.
thank you.
Thank you so much.
All right.
That was so easy.
Oh, good. Okay.
Stir the pot or maintain harmony?
Stir.
Faithful
And then
or
step out and
Yeah.
match it.
Yeah.